Hey guys, so in today's video, we're going to be making a look using the Tartelette in Bloom palette. To start off this look, I'm going to be using the Smashbox 24-Hour Eyeshadow Primer, and then I'm going to set that with the shade Flower Child in the Tartelette in Bloom palette. This is just, honestly, it's pretty close to my skin tone, and I'm just going to take that from my lid all the way up to my brow bone. For a transition shade, I'm going to use the shade Smarty Pants, which is just like a light tan. And I'm going to put this all the way from the outer corner to my inner corner very lightly. It doesn't need to be super precise. You can be as messy as you want and build it up as far as you want. And then once you have that to where you like it, I'm going to be using the shade Leader. And I'm using a little smaller of a brush, and I'm going to precisely put that in my crease and just go back and forth all the way in and out. It does take a minute to build it up, but once you do, it is very, very pretty. And then once we do that, I'm going to take the shade Leader and put that on the outer corner of my eye. Leader is actually the shade that did inspire this look. It's like a mahogany brown red color, and I've been really, really digging those for fall. And so I'm going to place this on the outer corner of my eye. Try to keep it in a V shape and not go more than halfway into your eye. Also, I'm trying to keep this below my crease as I don't really want to close off my eye and I still want it to be very open. Now this dark color does take a minute to blend out, so be patient, it will work, I promise. Next, I'm going to take my finger and actually use the shade Funny Girl. Now this isn't the most pigmented shade there is. It is a little hard to use, which is why I went in with my finger. I feel like it pays off the best when I use my finger. And I wanted it to not be too harsh, but I still wanted to see it. And so I'm just going to dab that in the middle of my lid, a little bit close to the inner corner and a little bit on the outer corner, but not too much. And then we're just going to blend that out to make it look a little more natural and not as noticeable. Once I do that, I thought the outer corner faded quite a bit, so I went ahead and went in with just a little bit more of that Leader shade. To prime my face, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Mattifying Primer. It is still extremely hot where I am, and I am a grease ball, so I have to use every mattifying product I can find right now. For my foundation today, I wanted to do something that has a more natural finish, so we're going in with the L'Oreal True Match. I'm mixing the shades 4 and 6, and we're just going to use a Tarte brush. I believe I got this in a holiday set, but you know, any brush will do. I'm just going to blend that completely out. And then once we are done with that, we are moving on to concealer. For my concealer today, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 20 Sand, I believe. And I'm putting that under my eyes, on the bridge of my nose, my forehead, and my chin. It's pretty close to my foundation shade, which is what I wanted for this look. I didn't want anything too bright and too dramatic, so we're just going to blend that out. And then a tip for your underneath concealer is actually, if you're using a brush or even a beauty blender, go back and forth, that way it doesn't settle in the fine lines. To set that, we're going to be using the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I will be using the yellow shade as well as the light orange shade. The orange just helps everything not be too bright, and also cancel out any darkness that is still there. Once we do that, I'll be going in with a big fluffy brush from Morphe Brushes and using my Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. I absolutely love this stuff. I've used it for years. And we're just going to put that all over my face to set my foundation. Now for my bronzer, I'm using the NARS Laguna bronzer. It's a really good one for what shade I'm in right now. And I'm just going to hit that on my temples, my forehead, my cheekbones. We're just going to make that typical 3 that you do when you're doing your bronzer. And the brush I'm using is from MAC. Honestly, this brush is amazing for bronzer. If you don't have it, I highly recommend going out and buying it. For my contour, I'm actually going to be using the same shade. And we're just going to use the NARS Eater brush and contour my nose and my cheekbones. Now you do have to be a little careful with this brush because it can leave a really harsh line. So just make sure you go back in and kind of blend it upwards. Never blend your contour downwards, as it defeats the purpose of contouring. Once we do that, I am going to go in with a little stippling brush and blend out my bronzer just a little bit. I thought it looked a little harsh, so we're just going to go in and blend that out. And then once we do that, I am going to bake. I've recently been loving baking my contour, and I'm using the Tarte Amazonian Clay Smooth Operator Finishing Powder with a Real Techniques Beauty Blender. And I'm just going to set that while I apply my blush in the shade Romantic Rose from Milani. It's a very pretty nude. And once I do that, we're going to go back in with that same little brush and blend everything out once again. I'm a super big freak when it comes to my bronzer and blush being blended. So once I think that hits about right, I'm going to go back in and just wipe off all of that extra powder, get my baking done. And for today's highlight, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Sculpting Duo in the shade number 2. This highlighter is absolutely amazing. It's one that lasts all day, so I'm just going to hit the top of my cheekbones and the tip of my nose. This is an extremely gold highlighter, so if you haven't tried it yet and you love gold highlighters, you should definitely go get it. For my lower lash line, I'm using the shade Smarty Pants and Rebel, and just taking that from the outer corner all the way into the inner. You can make it as smoky or non-smoky as you would like. And then to deepen it up just a little bit, I'm going in with the shade Leader. And I'm not going to take this any deeper than the middle of my eye. So we're going to go about halfway. Again, smoke it out to how you like it. And then for my brow bone and my inner corner highlight, I'm going to be using the shade Charmer in this palette. It's the lightest one they have. It's a nice matte, and I'm just going to really pack that on. For my lashes, I'm using the Benefit Farewell Mascara. I don't typically wear falsies, and so I like to use mascaras that really lengthen and volume my lashes, and this does exactly that. Now once I'm done with my top lashes, I will be moving on to my bottom and using the Loreal Voluminous Carbon Black. For my lips, I'm using a ColourPop Lippie stick in the shade Pinch, I believe. I'll check on that for you guys though and leave it in the description box. And that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all very soon. Bye!